Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name's Austin. Infinity Pool stars Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. Led by a seductive and mysterious woman, a couple on vacation venture outside the resort grounds and find themselves in a cult with filled violence, hedonism, and untold horror. A tragic accident soon leaves them facing a zero-tolerance policy for crime. Either you be executed, or if you're rich enough to afford it, you can watch yourself die instead. So this is directed by the son of the father that directed Crimes of the Future, one of the worst movies I saw last year, and one of the worst movies that I put on my list of last year. That movie was pretty bad. So going in, I was very skeptical because when I first saw the trailer, I was like, this feels like a movie I've seen before. Why does this feel like a movie I've seen before? And it's because it's directed by the son of the father of last year movie of Crimes of the Future. And going in, I was like, oh fuck, fuck, not again. And I was surprisingly enjoyed it in some parts. Like the idea of this movie is way better than Crimes of the Future. It's not a I mean, it could be turned into a fetish, but it's not a fetish of cutting yourself open and selling your organs to somebody and tattooing them or something. This, at least, it's like, okay, if you if you did something in this certain country and you can either be executed, or you can if you're rich enough, you can watch yourself die. So, and that stuff is a way better idea, and it sounds more interesting, and you could do a lot of things with it. Now, so some things in this movie don't quite get explained. So so our main two leads are Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. So Alexander Skarsgård gets himself in a situation where he basically needs to watch himself die. He also has a rich wife, so she pays to watch. So she basically pays to make sure that he doesn't actually die. Now, now the movie never explains. Did she also go through the same process of, because it's a cloning situation. It's not really that spoiler because it's like, how are you gonna watch yourself die? How's that possible? So it's cloning, of course, and I don't like the movie kind of just ignores her and she kind of just leaves and goes out of nowhere. So on that aspect, it's like, okay, odd. But it's like after each time that he goes through this re-experience, he kind of starts acting differently. So it's like, is there like an experimental wrong thing? It's like on that aspect, it kind of doesn't really explain a lot. And so he kind of goes through these minds like changing type of situations. And on that aspect, the movie kind of gets confusing, and it's kind of sort of up to your own imagination, sort of, because the movie also brings up the question: did the real Alexander? That's not his character's name. It's more, it's like James. Did the real James die? And it's like, that's a neat idea, but it kind of goes nowhere with it. It's just kind of just retreads some of the same things over and over throughout the whole entire movie, and it's like, where's the story going, really? And when we get to like the actual turning point of the movie, it's like, okay, so that yeah, okay, that's not really a surprise, but why? So the movie never really questions answers why. It asks all these questions, but it never actually answers them, and so it kind of just leaves you in the air like, interesting. What was I supposed to think of that? It's fine if you leave your movie on a cliffhanger. That's fine. Because it does sort of leave on a cliffhanger of where you're asking the question of why, but it never answers sort of the other questions either. So on that aspect, it's like, But on the other aspect, it's like, okay, I'm really enjoying this because the acting is really on par. And I really like the craziness of this movie. Mia Goth is, she's an amazing actress, and she plays it off pretty well as a crazy woman in this movie. Like I felt scared of her, and she did a really great job on that performance. Alexander, he did good too. I enjoyed him. There's times at his point of when his character's sort of has this turning point for no reason. That's again, the movie doesn't really explain why. But then he suddenly has that human instinct to run away. So it's like, I don't know really how to feel about his character. He at one moment he's enjoying it, and next he's not because of something that happens. So that's basically the way I can explain it. And it's like, okay, I'm enjoying it, but the movie kind of just sort of starts stumbling at the end because it doesn't really know how to end. It's really crazy. It's very bloody, and if you get seizures from like strobe lights, there's a lot of that in this movie. So if you get seizures from that, highly recommend not going seeing this because there is a lot of like flashing lights and like it's like a rage party in there. So don't go see it if you get seizures. But yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I just don't really know how I feel about that final act really, because the final act is where it kind of starts tumbling and it doesn't really answer a lot of the questions I have with the movie. It doesn't really explain its existence that much at the end. But the idea of the first two acts it's a lot of fun. This movie is a lot of fun. It's way better than Crimes of the Future because Crimes of the Future is just fucking stupid. It makes no sense. Here it's like it makes sense, but then it starts losing its like whole point of the movie really because it doesn't really add. It doesn't have a message or anything like that unless I sort of missed it. But I feel like I'm not the only one that's confused about what happened in this movie or how the sciences of what's happening. I don't really care about. But the reason of these certain turn events is what I care about, and that's kind of what the whole entire movie sort of was setting up, and then goes nowhere with it. I'm gonna give Infinity Pool a B-. I enjoyed it. I just don't really enjoy that final third act because that's when it sort of starts falling apart at the end of it. It knew what it was at the beginning, but then it didn't know how to end, and because it just kind of brought up questions that were never answered really. So yeah, go check it out. Of course, if you don't get seizures from rage party lights, basically. Anyway, thanks for watching, and like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye guys.